It can't be that bad, oh, 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 it can't be that bad. You are 100% Sam Rockwell in this movie.
I think I'm a little bit of both.
Yeah, in ways.
I texted you within the first 15 minutes because I know I had to kind of convince you to watch this movie a little bit, and I felt like it was a little bit of an uphill battle, so maybe I like overcompensated by texting you throughout it. But I mean,
you didn't really have to convince me. I was down for it. I just was like not really familiar with the movie, and I was just like,
I wasn't either. It was brought to my attention from Sam Luby over at the studio.
Oh, so nice! Shout out
to Sam. She had heard of it from her friend Angel, who'd heard of it from her brother Bill.
Oh wow!
And so it's a lot. It's like a long way. It takes a village to make a podcast.
So
that's pretty much what I'm saying.
It was like 4 degrees of separation for you to hear this.
Yeah, and then I saw it and I was like, dude, Nick Cage, Christian, check. Sam Rockwell, Alex, check. Ridley Scott, movies, check.
Yep.
Like it was pretty much. It just hit all the boxes. But your response of the movies in return of what we could potentially do were also really good.
Yeah.
Suggestions.
In different ways. I mean, like, because I'd thrown some Sandler movies at you. Like, I want to do The Wedding Singer at some point.
We got to do that one on your birthday.
Because that one has so much meaning to me. That's like one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. And the other one...
I couldn't have guessed.
Big Daddy
I like
is
Big Daddy.
Among the collection of VHS movies that I grew up with. And so that has sentimental value to me.
Whenever I think of Big Daddy, I remember when we were hanging out. I don't know if you were there that night, but we went to go hang out with Jules at her old house.
Okay.
At her old parents' house. And we're all watching movies and stuff like that. And they told me we were going to watch Big Daddy.
and we get
there and we're watching The Last Exorcism.
I wasn't there.
I hated every second of it.
You should have just left.
How? I didn't have a car at the time.
Walk home.
I guess it was close enough I could have.
Actually, you wouldn't walk home at night after watching any second of The Last Exorcism.
No way,
you would have died.
No way, bro. Now I think I could, because now I don't believe exorcisms are a real thing. Because I'm not... No, Alex, no Nazis in this episode.
No. This is about Nick Cage and Sam Rockwell. Let's jump into it and tell the baddies what we watched. Let's welcome them first. So, welcome.
Also, welcome from me.
Why are you saying it like that?
I just want them to know I like them too.
It was a conjoined welcome.
I know.
Okay, well, let's try it again.
Okay.
Welcome to another episode of ICBTB Podcast.
Word cursed.
My name is Christian.
My name is Alejandro.
And we're back with another movie for you baddies.
And like I said, we just talked about the 4 separations of Kevin Bacon to how we got this film. It is a movie called Matchstick Men. And it's an incredible film that I had never heard of, never seen, just know all the parts that make it a whole.
Like, I didn't know the title of the movie, but I definitely recognized the movie poster.
Really?
Yeah, like it's a very artsy movie poster where just Nick Cage's glasses are colorized and like some of Sam Rockwell and the girl in the middle too.
It's a very minimalistic.
Yeah. I like it a lot. Like it was, I liked it from the very beginning. Like it was cool, but it definitely starts picking up once his daughter joins the picture.
It definitely takes a couple of like hard turns.
Yeah.
And to the point where, like I said earlier, I was a little worried that you weren't going to like it because at first I was like, I don't really know if I like it, but I fought really hard to get this.
There's always a risk. Always a risk with movies that we're not really familiar with.
Yeah.
And like we're going to jump into it, which is why I texted you like, hey, watch it. Let me know if you think it's worth doing.
For sure.
And I was 100% locked in after you said there's much to talk about.
Which generally, I watch the movies before you do. Because I not like you watch them the day of recording. Generally, I'll watch it either the night before or right before too. But I always have time to digest it and stuff like that. So again, shout out to Sam for pointing this movie out to us because I fucking love this movie.
It's really good. It was a great watch.
Any movie about con men, any movie that's like kind of like a heist where at the end of it you're just like, the last 20 minutes I was standing up.
Yeah.
I was just
This is
screaming.
what it is. Of course you're going to love it because it's about con men.
Yes.
Them conning. And of course I'm going to love it because it was a father-daughter relationship type of thing. That was very moving, man.
And then Sam Rockwell's in it too, kind of being like an asshole friend. And it's like, oh man, this has got everything.
It's perfect. Let's jump into it because I want to talk about it.
I want to make a promise to you. We're going to finish this episode before that coffee gets cold.
Oh shit.
We watched a movie called Matchstick Men. It was released in the year 2003. Haven't done this in a while, excuse me.
Ooh.
It was released in the year 2003 and is rated PG-13. It has a runtime of 1 hour, 56 minutes or 116 minutes for those of us who like to count minutes. It has a rating of 7.3 on IMDb, an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But a 61% on Metacritic.
Yep.
Mr. Christian Baltazar, would you, my friend, guess the Google users?
83% is my guess. Is it spot on?
It's 81%.
Ooh, okay.
But compared to like our first episodes, because I've asked you that since the first episode, right? The nitty gritty is something that's maybe never changed.
Yeah.
You've gotten really good at it.
It's something just like associating the movie title, like it's how familiar it is in pop culture.
You're good,
Because
man.
Google users, it's like a thumbs up, thumbs down type thing.
Yeah.
And so that's okay.
You're
I'm
getting
flattered.
really good at that, and you're getting really good at guessing budgets. Because remember the first few times we did it, you're like, I'm not good with these numbers. I don't really know. And it's like now every time we have a guest in here, and you're like, 72,115, and it's like, oh my god, that's exactly it.
Well, dude, some guests are just like $3, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you're way off.
That is
What
a
are
tough
you
question
doing?
for like uninitiated.
Yeah. I mean, because I've done this whole like nitty gritty thing for a while. Some people are like, I think 12% of Google users like it. Like, whoa, you're really shitting on this movie.
Next.
All right, let's do it.
Synapses coming at you.
Right at you.
Roy, a depressed con artist with obsessive compulsive disorder, and Frank, his partner, find their line of work complicated by the arrival of Roy's teenage daughter, Angela. Angela brings some spirit back into Roy's life, and some of his disorder symptoms seem to disappear. But when Angela wants to learn the family business and Roy allows her to assist on the big scam concerning a businessman, he reconsiders his parenting techniques. This movie had a budget of, I saw it earlier, $62 million.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Some heavy hit because Nicolas Cage
It's getting
probably
some money,
asking
yep.
for a good amount of money. Sam Rockwell as well.
In 2003, Sam Rockwell, I think, was getting adequate pay.
Yeah.
Like, for sure, the most of the budget in actors' pay was Nick.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Definitely. And like I want to say Nicolas Cage killing it in this movie.
Everybody's acting.
Yes.
The girls acting.
Fantastic.
Nicolas Cage is acting. Sam Rockwell's hurt acting.
Yep.
It's just like this whole movie is just an Oscar winner in my book.
Yeah.
How much money do you think they made back? On a budget of 62, what do you think they got back?
I think they made money back, but it wasn't like something that everyone remembers. Like this isn't a household name in terms of like movie titles.
This should be one of Nick Cage's best movies. Like everyone should talk about Nick Cage and Matchstick Men.
Yeah, but like since his library is consistent of so many movies, I see why it might get lost at the bottom of the pile.
I think it's somewhere in the middle.
But it should, it should definitely at the very least be somewhere in the middle because the micro expressions that he has as this guy that's like has OCD and agoraphobia and Tourette's. Yes,
he does Tourette's. Like, I mean,
Really
I
good.
don't have it, but I've only known 2 people with it, and like that's pretty spot on. Like to like really. Yeah, for somebody
without
who's
doing
not,
it too much, because like even throughout the
not
film,
hack. Yeah.
it's not hack, and that's such an easy thing to, especially
Bob
something.
Saget!
yeah,
Rest in
dude.
peace, Bob Saget, by the way.
And rest in peace. I think the guy that did
Yeah,
that.
I think Tourette's guy is dead.
Guy's
Yeah.
dead.
Oh, man.
Now they're having a good talk up in heaven.
Or are they having a fight?
They're fighting in heaven, and God's like, "All right,
Whoa.
take it to purgatory.
Put some gloves on.
All right,
Get
figure
in
it
the
out.
ring.
I'm sorry, but Bob Saget, you
can stay.
You can stay. Tourette's guy, what you did, very offensive, if anything.
I just need you to tell me the aristocrats joke, please.
Yeah, just one last time.
How much did it make?
I think it made like 80 mil.
It made $65.6 million, so just barely its money back.
Just a little bit.
Plus a little bit of pizzazz on it, which makes sense. It only released in less than 2,000 theaters, which I thought was an interesting fact that I saw. And it also was second in the box office behind Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of those films that everybody has seen. Everybody's gone to. Johnny Depp, Antonio Banderas.
Title.
It's like it's everything. And for them to coming in second for that
not
movie,
bad.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
But yeah, Nicolas Cage, it's nice seeing him back and at it.
Be a dad.
Yeah, him being a dad, which was like 20, 30 minutes into the film, we don't see him be a dad yet. Like we see him, I love how this movie opens up. Like it really introduces his reality for who he is, right?
My only one maybe qualm with Nicolas Cage's character is I don't think somebody who's that obsessive about cleaning would be smoking constantly.
There
would be
weird.
Ash all over the place.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Like the way he does it too. He just has it in his like
very
mouth.
casual. And I also think like this movie should have been made in the 90s. This is not a
seems
2003
like a
movie.
90s film.
Yeah, this is not a 2003 movie at all.
I like the way it was shot because like they did a good job of like really letting us live within his agoraphobia. Like when the backyard door opens and it's just super fucking bright. Or like I like how the attention to detail, like how he has to open and close doors three times, right?
And he has to say it in 3 different languages.
Yeah.
Un, deux, trois.
And what's the other one? Is it French or something like that?
I think it's like English or it's Spanish. I don't know.
Right? But
I don't speak anything but English.
But he's getting like I like it, dude.
And here's something that I like a lot about it is Sam Rockwell is his partner in crime. Mm-hmm. And every time he does the door thing, like the 1, 2, 3, you see like this exacerbated Sam Rockwell look where he's just like, come on, just open the fucking door. Like,
without saying much, you could understand what their dynamic is already. They've known each other for such a long time.
He knows he's going to make him take his shoes off. He's eating that burger when he walks in because he knows that's going to bug him.
He knows.
But then when he gets there and sees like how much it's affecting him, he's like, oh, fuck, okay, hang on.
Still does it, yeah.
Yeah, he does, but he cleans up after himself.
Yeah, after himself. It's weird.
So this movie starts off with 2 con men who are maybe at the height of their career. Mm-hmm. Before we go any further, do you know what con man, do you know what that is short for?
No, not at all, actually.
It's short for confidence man.
Whoa.
Because you gain confidence in this person and then they trick you.
That in that sense, that's what it stands for.
I used to love, there was a YouTube channel that I used to love watching where it was a guy who was like a pickpocket kind of guy and he used to show people cons on how to like convince people that you're paying like with a 20 but it's actually a 5, or when you ask for change for a 50 and you get an extra 20. Like I used to love those videos. So the con that they do in the beginning is a real con. It's called.
Oh, I believe it, dude.
What they do to the guy is a con called the pigeon drop. Mm-hmm. What they end up doing at the end is called the bait and switch. Mm-hmm. And then the first one that they do with the water filtration system.
That one's fucked up, dude.
Is called like the false authority. Mm-hmm. Because they come in pretending to be an authority system and you trust them.
That was the twist, right? Like, hey, you want a prize, and then you come in like thinking that, okay, these are 2 people that work with the authorities. They're here to save you, so you trust them with your information.
They show them badges.
Yep.
They say they're from the FBI. So at first, the movie opens with them in their office. Sam Rockwell's working. Yeah. And he's making these calls like, hey, congratulations, you just won a contest. Have you ever won a contest before?
No, I've never.
Oh, well, here's your first time. Here's what you got to do. And he's like explaining how she wins a contest. Then Nicolas Cage is cleaning the house and he comes to work.
Yeah.
When he gets there, we hear that what they're actually doing is conning people into buying water filters.
So he says, okay, so ma'am, you've won one of 3 prizes. So you could either win like a trip to Paris, France, or you could get like I forget
it was a trip, a diamond necklace,
yes,
or the water filtration system.
No, the water filtration system. He says this is the whole thing.
She bought it to get into the.
She was just like, so okay. So you don't get taxed. You won't get taxed for this prize if you buy our water filtration system for the low price of $700. And he says that as he's ripping off the sticker that says $49.99. Fucked up, dude.
Hey, that's called resale value.
It's so mean. And then like right when Nicolas Cage comes in, he's like, hey, ma'am, my supervisor just came in and he wants to talk to you so that you feel much better about getting your prize. Nicolas Cage takes the phone, starts talking.
At the same time, Sam Rockwell's writing on a board and he holds up a board and
it says 5 grandkids. Oh, ma'am, I realized that you have 5 grandkids.
My associate tells me you have 5 grandkids. Mm-hmm. That is not a con trick. That's a sales.
That's a sales tactic, dude.
Like in my job, we like leave each other notes and be like, oh, they mentioned that they ride horses, and so when they come in, I'm like, hey, do you ride horses?
And you're like, whoa, my God, how did you know?
I just, I figure you look like a person who rides horses.
And it creates this like this facade of a relationship. Like it's just building trust.
I know you know me, huh?
It's scary just seeing it right here done very well by these 2 guys.
So she pays the $700 for the water filtration system because there's no tax on it. And then they say, a courier service will be there to pick up the check.
Yeah. And so
then we see them driving over to the house.
Yeah.
And they get out of the car, they knock on the door, and they present themselves as FBI agents. Yeah. This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Crazy, because not only did they just con the lady, they conned the lady's husband who's upset.
Because they get in there and they're having a whole discussion because the husband's like, how could you have been so stupid to get scammed and stuff like that? Like, what are you doing giving them money? And they're like, look, this happens a lot. It's not her fault. It's going to be okay. Here's what we need. We need your name, your number, and your bank account number.
Yeah, dude, it's rough.
And the guy's like, oh, okay. And he writes it all down. At the same time, we're being introduced to his
agoraphobia,
where the back door opens and we can see the pollen and the light, and we see. He
starts twitching.
I think it's very interesting that the light is behind Sam Rockwell.
Ooh,
that it kind of silhouettes
You think it's foreshadowing something?
Well, it's like everything in that shot was bad.
Oh, damn.
Also, we're going to spoil this film, by the way, guys.
Right now it's streaming, I think, only on HBO Max if you want to see it for free.
And I think Hulu if you have a premium subscription.
I think the premium subscription is attached to HBO. So
Nice.
one of those.
So just watch this movie. It is incredibly good. It's like Ocean's 11, where when you see the end, the beginning suddenly makes all of the sense. So,
yeah, it's a fantastic twist, fantastic plot, and like a good build-up.
great sex scenes.
Super steamy sex scenes.
Just kidding. There's actually not one. There's actually no sex scenes
No,
at all.
no. This is very detached from
Ridley
sex.
Scott, no sex at all.
I know. I'm used to at least one sex.
Also, Nicolas Cage, Sam Rockwell, Ridley Scott, Hans Zimmer. All these people are involved with this film.
How I knew I was going to like this film almost
soundtrack.
immediately? Yes. It opens up with my favorite crooner of all time, Bobby Darin, him singing A Good Life.
And it closes with my favorite crooner of all time,
Frank Sinatra singing Summer Wind,
which
man.
is my favorite song he does.
Not going to lie, cried at the end of this movie.
Watch the whole credits singing with Frank.
Yes. Yes, dude. It was like 3 a.m. when I finished this movie last night, and I was like, "Oh man,
Of course you're singing.
I'm up in my feels right now." It's Frank Sinatra singing "Summer Wind," so good.
So that was your spoiler warning. That was the buffer zone that we give you to like listen a little bit more and get a chuckle and then turn it off and go watch the movie. Because go watch this movie.
Now come back and finish it. Finish this episode.
Welcome back.
Yes.
So they're doing the scam. You see all the good stuff. You see them outsmart them. You see that Sam Rockwell's constantly like, "Did you take your pills? Did you take your medicine?" Like he knows there's something going on. And that's when Sam Rockwell drops the first little hint of being like, "You know, my sister just saw a psychiatrist. That's pretty good. Why don't you go see my sister's psychiatrist?"
Yeah. And it's like, okay, because apparently the guy that Nicolas Cage is getting his medication illegally from whoever the fuck, who apparently just quote unquote moved out of town.
Moved east.
Yes.
I think they literally say he moved east.
He moved east. And he's like, what the fuck? And so he goes, sees this psychiatrist, and he's talking to him about like, he doesn't even want to talk to the psychiatrist. He's like, just give me the fucking pills, man.
And honestly, I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure we'll be corrected in the emails, psychiatrists don't prescribe medicine. Therapists do.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I have like a tough time differentiating like psychiatrists and therapists, and are they both shrinks and whatnot? This guy is a shrink.
I don't think shrinks can prescribe medicine.
For someone that's a con man and should be paying so much attention to detail, he's not really doing a lot of research about what he's getting himself into.
Well, because he's in a time of need, right? He's not the confident one in the room because he's trying to get help and get new medicine and meet this new doctor. And this doctor is like, well, it's like start at the beginning. Tell me about your...
Dude, I love it. Like really starts to pick up when you hear about like his past. He says like, the psychiatrist asks like, when's the last time you were in a relationship? And he's just like 5 years. He's like, higher. 10 years, higher. 14 years since he was with his ex-wife. And he's like, it ended horribly, like with who had a black eye? Because
I think they both did.
They both just fought each other?
Because I'm pretty sure the line is, when she left, she had a black eye, and I had one that she gave me. Or it's something
and
like...
I'd left her one too.
She'd give me a black eye, and I left her one too.
And I was like, whoa. And,
so it was pretty intense.
And he used to be, an alcoholic, I'm assuming? He says he doesn't drink anymore? Do you remember him saying that, or am I tripping?
He doesn't drink during the movie. He might have mentioned that in the beginning, because I do know later in the film he makes 2 martinis and doesn't drink it.
Sam Rockwell is like, buddy, I'm going to get you drunk one of these days.
And then the next scene is him like looking at a margarita and then like putting it back down.
Yeah. But then like also, why does he have beer at his house? Because his daughter's drinking a beer and he's just like, I love... And we're gonna get to like when when the daughter enters the movie, but like when his daughter's like doing something and he does it, he's freaking out about how to be a parent. He's just like, you shouldn't be doing that.
You should have eggs for breakfast.
Okay, let's talk about Angela, the daughter.
So he tells the psychiatrist that when his wife left him, she was pregnant. And he doesn't know what happened to the baby. He never met the baby. And the doctor says, well, have you tried to get in contact with him? On his next visit, the doctor tells him, look, I called your ex-wife to tell her that we're going through this moment. She needs to kind of like get in contact. She didn't want to have any part with you.
Yeah.
But your daughter, Angela, said that she would like to meet you.
Yeah.
And so Nicolas Cage was like, I didn't know it was a little girl. She's got to be about 14 years old, 13 years old. I'm going to go and meet her and see if I can have like a connection with her.
Yeah.
And so they do. And she is like the coolest 13-year-old.
Baggy pants, has a skateboard, just says, what's up?
She's like, she smokes cigarettes and she drinks beer.
Yeah.
She's had sex with boys.
It's crazy. As like a dad, like as someone who strives to be a future dad, This movie struck so many chords within me of just like, oh my God, Nicolas Cage and this girl's acting, their dynamic together is just so beautiful.
I want to say one of the lines that sticks with me to this day is when they first meet and she says, Mom says, I only got your elbows. And then she says, I used to look at a picture of you. Or she goes, "Don't! You're staring at me." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not staring." She's like, "It's okay. I used to do it too." Because I used to stare at a picture of you all the time, wondering if I got your nose or your chin or your cheeks. And after she said that line, I was like, "They kind of do have similar noses."
Yeah,
they do look. So I was all for that being his daughter.
Yeah, man.
And she was cool, and he's cool, and like he clearly needs a lady in his life. Like we see him get ready at his home. Like he needs a little bit of a lady life.
Well, the charm with this movie is that it changes him for the better all around. You see that his tics go away.
Carpet gets rugged out. The rug just gets yanked out from beneath him.
Fuck, dude!
He just slams his head into the cement.
This plot just blows up, and your life is just ruined, and everything you thought would happen does not happen.
Oh God, no! But you're right though. Like you really think it's helping, and like, so he goes to meet the daughter. The doctor gives him a new prescription of medicine. Yeah. He meets his daughter, and then he comes back to work with like a new like just pizzazz for it.
Yep.
He's like, I'm ready. Let's go do so and so. Like, hey, what about that big fish that you talked about a while ago? And
then Sam Rockwell's like, man, those pills
like,
are working. Really? Oh, you really? You want to do it?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
And so they meet at this at the Spearmint Rhino.
Which do you know what the Spearmint Rhino is?
I mean, they have like one in Vegas. Like it's just like
I'm pretty sure that's the Spearmint Rhino.
It's the fanciest, not fanciest, but it's like the most well known strip joint.
I love PG-13 strip clubs.
Yeah, this was
PG-13 strip clubs have strippers wearing like babushkas and fucking like monk robes, and it's just like that's not what they wear in strip clubs.
Is that stripper wearing a turtleneck?
And all the men are like just drinking beer, and it's just like why isn't anybody like eating ribs?
No one's drinking hard liquor.
Where's the buffalo wings?
Where's the violence? Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening.
Where's the scary guy staring at me to make sure I don't touch her?
Yeah, exactly that. No, this was very PG-13,
which was good.
It's fine.
They have this Mark who Sam Rockwell met at the airport.
I think so, yeah.
And what they're doing is a con called the Pigeon Drop, which is where they have the Mark, if you're the Mark, deposit some money, and in return we give you more money, but what we're actually giving you is fake money, and we have the real money in exchange. We take both Pigeon Drop. But the way that they do the little like, I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to talk to you about this. Like the teasing.
Yeah.
The con artist teasing.
They know the guy. They know that their victim has money. He's some dude that has
he's a Mark.
The Mark has a lot of money. He has a boat, and he's easily interested in like, what the fuck? What's going on over here?
Yeah,
right?
so he sees Sam and
Nicolas Cage
do like a envelope handoff, and then Nicolas Cage like kind of does one of these, and Sam Rockwell's like, hey, come here, buddy. Let me talk to you. Let's give us a little bit of privacy. We're in the middle of something. And the guy's like, oh. Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah. So immediately he's interested in what's
very
going
smart.
on.
It's very smart.
And he does come back to Sam Rockwell, and he does, of course, ask him what it is. He wants to get in. And he tells him, he's like, look, this guy, he works in finance. He works in a bank.
Yeah.
And, when I need money to be exchanged, he'll give me a sum for money, and then I'll give him that sum, and that's how it works.
Blah, 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 we make money.
And the guy's like, well, I could do that. And
he's just like, how much can you get? Like, usually we don't do anything more than 10,000.
He's like, we don't do anything north of 10. Yeah, that's right. And he's like, could you do more? No, what?
But how much can you get? And he's just like, I could do much more. They're like, fuck.
They're like, the fucking
80,000, I believe.
He's perfect. He's the perfect Mark.
Yeah.
Because he's arrogant. He's rich. He thinks
he doesn't even tip people that wash his car. He's an asshole.
Or the valet. Like, that was a point that Nicolas Cage keeps pointing out. He's like, he doesn't tip. That's why I think Nicolas Cage is a good person in this film. Because he does feel bad about the cons.
Which is a big thing that we hear. Like, it's Nicolas Cage's morale as a person, or like his moral conscience. It's a big thing that they focus on because his daughter always says, like, Mom says you're a bad guy, but I think you're just
a criminal.
But I think you're a good guy.
That was all just...
This is just shit that like, without even knowing how the divorce went down. These are just things that you can say.
Well, and then Angel also says at one point where she's like, look, me and Mom, we get in fights sometimes, and I just leave, and that's what it is. So she shows up at Nicolas Cage's door
out of nowhere
in the middle of the night, and she's like, look, me and Mom got in a fight. This is what happens sometimes. Can I stay here for the night? And he's like, I don't know if that's actually the best move or whatever, but
I love him freaking out.
He's on the way to the Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah.
So he's like, whatever, fuck it, come inside.
Are you fine here staying? I'll pick you something up. He's trying his best to be a dad, or like what he thinks a dad would do.
Do you like ice cream?
She's like,
ice cream?
I like chocolate chunky fudge.
No, like New York style chocolate chunky. Like, it was like a random ass.
And he was like, so chocolate. I'll get you chocolate. He's like freaking out.
And then he leaves and he goes and does the whole Spearmint Rhino introduction.
Yeah.
And then he goes to his favorite grocery store, stands in his favorite lines. He's his favorite teller, buying ice cream, which is weird because this man buys 2 things at this store.
Oh my gosh.
A shitload of tuna.
Shitload of tuna.
And cartons of cigarettes.
Just a lot.
Again, not a 2003 film, more like a 1993 film.
His health is down the drain.
It doesn't matter that his mental health is done. His lungs are done.
Oh, yeah. Yes. His lungs are done. And also, how disgusting, like, canned tuna is.
Oh, dude.
So bad for you.
And he smokes cigarettes down to the filter.
Yep.
Like, he's not...
not a wasteful man.
No. There's ash everywhere. This man is ashy as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know how his carpets are that clean. They should be everywhere.
I do like that everybody carries an ashtray with them, though. Anyways,
yeah.
So she comes over, and while he goes out and does the con, she is listening to records and smoking a cigarette,
messing up his underwear,
just to fuck with him. She's messing up his underwear.
But it's cute. It's just kind of like, hey, you are this rebellious 14-year-old daughter.
Exactly.
And there's a charm to it. There's a charm to their relationship.
What does a 13-year-old, 14-year-old do when they see a perfectly pristine folded drawer of whitey tidies?
Fuck it up.
You gotta fuck it up.
You gotta fuck it up. I kind of wanted to fuck it up.
At first, she opens it and then closes it.
She's like, nah, I'm gonna move everything.
And at first I was like, what a bitch. But then I also thought to myself, I was like, no, but actually, like, that's kind of funny. That's actually kind of good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Dude.
Good for her. Good for her.
And so, like, you see their relationship grow. Like, obviously, the montage of them, like, of him trying to make dinner for her. He's making this dry ass spaghetti for her.
No, I think he made a delicious basil pasta.
It looked like it was good, but like for a 14-year-old.
Yes.
She's like, and they end up ordering Domino's.
Which is great. They order Domino's quite a few times.
This is where it really gets me. This is where I really love the movie. You just like to see
their connection grow.
See how her happiness made him happy.
Yes.
And this is like, that was such a real thing. Like,
he didn't really get tics when they were having dinner together like that. Like the first breakfast they had where she's eating ice cream and he's eating eggs, he was like twitchy as fuck and couldn't like even get a sentence out. Yeah. But when they're eating pizza, that's the happiest they both are.
And it's like, with me not even being a father, like that just gets me so excited. It's this whole thing of like, I would do anything to make my daughter that happy. Even if it means like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do this horrible criminal thing of like conning people.
Especially if you've been absent for 13, 14 years man. And you feel like, you know, you owe something to her and you're being told that the mom says you're a criminal and a piece of shit and that she doesn't, like to the point where he's dropping her off at her home and she hides because the mom's car is in the driveway. And so clearly she doesn't want her mom to even know that they're hanging out. Yeah. At one point, the mom does find out. She calls her mom, and her mom tells her, like, look, just stay there until summer school starts, and then you got to come back. Yeah. And so she tells Nicolas Cage, she's like, I'm going to stay until summer school, which was one of my favorite interactions, because like, well, okay, when does that start?
She was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, Monday, and he was like,
it's Thursday.
He's like, oh, for one weekend? He's freaking out. He's like, she's like, is that fine? Is that fine? And he's like, yeah, I guess you can. And I don't know, like, him teaching her how to do a con
is one of my favorite parts.
Crazy.
There's nothing like a, you know, master mentor movie. Yeah. And then like, because he's doing the biggest con of his life right now. And he even says that Sam Rockwell is his protege. He calls for like, yes, protege. When she first sees Frank, he's like, oh, that's my protege. You know, I'm teaching him how to do it. And so she immediately is like, well, I want you to teach me how to do it. Like, I want to be part of the business.
And he's like, no, I'm never going to do it.
I can teach a kid how to do it.
And he's like brushing his teeth and still saying no.
And she's like, well, I've done stuff with boys.
And if you don't teach me how to con, I'm going to tell you everything that I did with the boys. I went to Carrie's one time, and there was a party, and then like this boy Josh, he brought me upstairs, and he used his hand, and he touched my, and he was like, okay, fine, I'll fucking. And she jumps with joy and happiness. And so I love when they're in the car on the way to do whatever this con is, and she's like, okay, teach me. And she has like this notepad out, and he was like, rule number 1, don't write anything down. Don't write anything down.
He throws the notepad in the back room. That scam is actually one of my favorite ones.
Oh, the lotto ticket one?
The lottery ticket scam is so fucking clever.
Yes, and
also something that only can happen in the 90s. Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of some foreshadowing. He says, like, rule number 2, make sure whoever you're conning isn't conning you.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh man.
Right?
I love this movie.
A lot of foreshadowing, man.
The con is, for those of you who have seen the movie, and maybe for those of you who haven't.
Why you should probably watch the movie. If you're watching this deep without watching the movie, thank you.
A lot of trust you're giving us. Yeah. They con this woman at a laundromat into thinking that she has a winning lottery ticket for $600 because it's off by one number. Yeah. And what she do is like, hey, well, she tells the girl, she's like, hey, well, we'll split the winnings. We're in this together.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I gotta go. Like, I can't hang out. And she's like, well, what if I just give you the $300 that you deserve, and then we'll just call it quits on that?
Yeah.
And
she's like, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's an idea.
And so like Nicolas Cage is watching them at an ATM, and she successfully gets the $300 from this sweet old lady, a sweet old lady at a laundromat.
She sits out in the car and she's like, I got it.
Yeah, I got it. And he's like, you did so well.
No, he's like,
did
that was
so
perfect.
well.
She felt for it, everything.
Yup.
Okay.
See, would you teach your daughter?
Now
like,
give it back to her.
Did he say that?
Yeah. He made her give the money back.
Oh, because he was just... I missed that part. Oh, shit.
So he's like, that's good. You did really good. And then he like stops her and he goes, okay. Now one more thing. I want you to go give the money back to her. And she was like, what? And he's like, yeah. He said, I was going to teach you how to do the cons, not get away with it. What kind of father would I be if I let you get away with it?
Holy shit.
So it's like he has no problem teaching her these things. He just doesn't want her to
actually
do them, I guess.
Or, yeah.
Which is hella funny. And then she's like, and she goes out and whatever. And I would like to think she doesn't actually give them money.
She just like pockets it and then keeps it for herself. Which I would believe, knowing how this movie goes along down the road.
Again, all at the time that this is happening, his biggest con is happening.
Yeah.
Where they're setting up this money exchange where the Mark is going to pay $80,000 in exchange for upwards of 250,000 sterling pound English dollars. And the swap was here's the part that I didn't quite understand about the con. Because initially the con is you give me $80,000, I give you 250,000 English dollars. And then we call it squids. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't it make more sense if that was fake money?
It would.
Why would you lose 250? Because he's paying the at market price for it.
Yeah.
So that 250,000 sterling is actually worth $80,000.
Yeah. So like, who's making money, right? It's like he's just exchanging currency at that point. But I think it might be fake bills, dude. Right?
Or that all along. Well, no, because all along wasn't the fact that he switches because he does.
But also the guy doesn't even count how much sterling is in there ever, really. So I don't know. It could be like this whole thing of trust.
Yeah, it's not even really.
And it doesn't even matter because they do the whole bait and switch at the end anyway.
Incredible. Where the daughter is in on the big scam now. They're at the airport, which is actually not an airport. It's the Anaheim Convention Center, which I knew immediately. You fucking set designer, you fool.
You fool.
You can't fool me.
You didn't have enough money to get a real airport, you bitch.
Actually, in 2003, you couldn't film in an airport because of what happened on September 11th.
Oh, shit.
Also, so much smoking and no cell phones in this film. It was definitely a 1990s film.
Yeah.
The book came out in the 90s. It had to have been.
That's right. It was based on a book.
I would love to read the book.
That's, I wish I had more time to read books. So you read it. Let me know how it goes, dude.
You're doing the classic. You read it and tell me about it.
Yeah. Living vicariously through you.
I want my Watchmen book back.
I want to actually read that. That's a graphic novel. Different. That's a graphic novel.
So they do the bait and switch and they do it.
Yeah.
He's got the $80,000 American and he's got 250 sterling and they're walking out of the airport.
Wait, real quick. Let's back up a little bit because even the build up to that is like, holy shit, he's kind of quartered into the situation where he has to bring his daughter. His daughter just shows up on the day of this big. His daughter just shows up at his doorstep, he picks her up from school.
They were gonna.
And they go
bowling. And he gets a call from Frank, Sam Rockwell, who says, hey, the guy moved up his flight. He's leaving today.
Yeah.
We got to get the money. We got to do it right now. And Nicolas Cage is like, we can't do it right now. He's like, there's so much more to set up and make it set in place. And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. We got to do it right now. So goes to a safety deposit box where he authorizes his daughter's signature.
Dude, and like the amount of trust he gives to this girl is just like, okay, he says, stay right here. She follows him all the way up to the clerk and he says, exactly like, hey, blah, 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 this passcode. And he's like...
He doesn't give her the passcode.
No, he doesn't give her the passcode.
He hides the passcode from her, but he does authorize her signature. And she goes, well, when do I get the passcode? He goes, when I die.
Oof, yep.
Which, again, makes sense. Dads do that with family members. Like, that's a thing that happens. They go in. She sees the safety deposit box full of money and other countries' money and
she sees it all.
Files and stuff. I would like to see what other stuff he has in there. I want to know what all those papers are.
There's other things, man. There's other things.
And so he takes out the money, puts it in the briefcase all nice and dandy. Mm-hmm. They leave. So they set it all up. He's explaining to her what she's got to do in the scam. She's going to be the distraction.
Yeah.
So she's screaming and yelling at a bartender and slamming glasses down. And
Sam Rockwell doesn't have any clue about this. This is like new.
But he does know who the daughter is. So he recognizes the daughter.
And knows.
Because he had met her at the house. And he was like, why
did you bring her along?
It's so dangerous. Yeah. And the Mark is like, oh, I'm glad that's not my daughter. And they're like,
oh, I hope she's not on my flight.
Yeah. And then he tells Sam Rockwell, he goes, walk him to the gate. Walk him to the gate.
Make sure you walk him to the gate.
And then they leave. And then as he's leaving the parking lot,
you see him. You see the Mark chasing their car.
Punching the car, slamming the
grabbing Angela.
Grab by the hair.
Dude, if a man, I don't care if I just stole $80,000 of your money. If I saw someone grab my daughter in my car through her hair, I would fucking kill you, dude. I was enraged at that moment.
It's a pretty intense thing. And it was also pretty intense that Nicolas Cage's response was, roll up the window.
Roll up the window. Chop off his fucking arm. Roll up the window. Chop off his arm.
Roll up the window.
And so oh my gosh, I was stressed.
And then the most stressful scene in the entire film was when they're paying the parking lot attendant to leave.
Yeah.
Because he pays her a 20 and she's counting out the cash. He's like, just keep the change.
And she's like, oh, we're not allowed to accept gratuity here.
And he's like, no, really.
8, 9, 10.
She counts it's not even close to that fast.
So slow.
8. That makes 9.
That girl
makes 10.
might as well work at the DMV.
And he was like, okay, thank you, and snatches it out of her hand.
And then Mark is right behind them.
Covered in sweat. Just
drenched.
In movies, you never see that when they're chasing a car when they get sweaty, but that's what I liked about
attention
this
to detail.
Very sweaty, this man.
Yeah. Very unhealthy. Needs to work on his cardio.
And they get away, and he meets in a safe spot with Frank.
Yeah.
And Frank's like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, why'd you bring that girl? You're going to ruin the whole thing. And
now he knows, and Nicolas Cage is saying, it's okay. We're not in the books. We're not going to get in trouble at all.
Sam Rockwell says, how do you know she doesn't have a record?
She's 14.
How do you know she doesn't have a record?
So they go up to her in the car and says, have you ever been arrested?
No, he goes, better. He goes, go ahead, tell him. Tell him you've never been arrested.
And she says nothing. And she says, okay, I got caught up in a convenience store. I didn't pay for a pack of gum, okay? He was like, no, what? So you got arrested for that? Bullshit. And she was saying this whole thing about how the security guard was groping her, and so she had to retaliate, and that's why she got arrested.
Which again is so I get it now. It makes sense. Of course, you would stand up for yourself in that moment. And also, what are we not going to believe her that this thing is happening to her?
Yeah.
So it's fucked.
Yeah.
So Nicolas Cage is hitting the abort button. You know what I mean? He's like, we got to split up and we just got to lay low. I'm going to take her back to her mom's place and then we're done. Damn, because we're fucked, right? We got to get rid of the daughter.
That scene where he says, hey, I'm not going to see you. I'm going to be out of town for a few months. I know we had a good time, blah, 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 but never call me again. And it slowly escalates to
their
where
breakup.
He's dude, you're just hey, we just rekindled our relationship as father-daughter, and now you're leaving me again, and it's for her safety, and so his safety. It's just,
and she doesn't care because she just wants to be with her dad, and
she's crying,
a lot of layers,
and he's yelling, and he's trying to say sorry, and it's just so heartbreaking. It was so hard for me to watch that.
She does get back in the car though.
Yeah,
he does let her back in the car because they go back to the house, and that's when they find
Sam Rockwell
beaten
to a fucking pulp by the Mark.
Yeah. And the Mark's sitting there with a gun in his hand, and he's telling him, he's like, look, I know who the fuck she is. I have friends on the police force. We just looked at the camera because she bought him a gift, right?
Yeah.
In the gift shop. So the gift shop camera caught her.
Dude, the fact, because she was paying attention to detail about he had what he collected.
The Hummels. He had the dog Hummels.
Yeah.
So she buys him an ashtray or whatever, and that's how they find her picture.
Yeah.
And he tells him, he goes, look, well, you're going to give me whatever money you have. How much money do you have on you right now? And Nicolas Cage goes, well, I got $4,000 in my dog.
Yeah.
That's the dog cookie jar.
Yeah.
And so he goes again. He's like, no, not you.
The girl gets it.
Sends the girl to go get it. And then
fuck, dude. And he was trying to. Nicolas Cage was trying to send his daughter to just go to your room.
Yeah, just.
But then the Mark was
no,
she's as much part of this as you are.
She's a part of it.
And if I was
because he got her involved in it,
dude. If I was Nicolas Cage, I would be angry, upset, sad, scared, everything. Because fuck, dude. It is my fault that I brought her into this.
She's about to get shot in the face.
Yeah, that guy has a gun.
Yeah.
And then crazy, she goes to the dog, gets the money. Oh, doesn't get the money. Gets the gun.
Yeah, grabs his .32 police special.
Yeah.
And she comes back and she's so scared and she's crying. And she pulls up the gun. And she shoots him. And breaks down, and Nicolas Cage is like, oh, it's okay, it's okay.
Shoots him in the fucking gut.
Shoots him
Sam Rockwell's like, he ain't gonna make it.
Getting shot in the stomach is maybe the worst place to get shot.
Horrible.
That's a slow death from a bullet.
I have a qualm. Mark that right before he got shot. didn't shoot anyone or anything. He just let himself get shot in the gut.
I don't think he wanted to kill anybody, let alone a little girl.
He did. True.
Right? So
he just wanted to intimidate them so they could get half of the cut of whatever profits they make in the future.
I don't think, and even once we reveal the end, I don't think anybody knew she was going to shoot him. No. Because I don't think the mark was in on it at the end of the day.
It happened so fast. Whoa.
Or was he?
Wait, I think he was, dude.
Or was he? Does he smoke? Does the mark smoke at any point in this movie?
No clue.
Because I did some research, and we'll get to that when we reveal. But so the guy's dying.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell's beat to shit. He tells Sam Rockwell, he goes, take my daughter to this motel. I'll be there in the morning. I'm going to get rid of the body. He's like, I have to take her to the hospital. He's like, what else are we going to do?
Yeah.
And Sam's like, oh, well, fuck, I guess this is it then, right? Yeah. Like, it's over. He's like, yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
He goes back inside. And
he doesn't see the mark. Yeah. The mark like pistol whips him or some shit.
Hits him right in the face.
Yeah.
And so he wakes up in a hospital. There's 2 FBI agents there talking to him.
Yeah, I'm Detective Bishop. This is my partner. Blah 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 blah.
He's like, "We need to ask you a few questions." Blah blah blah. He's like, I only want to talk to my psychiatrist. That's the only person I want to talk to. If you get my psychiatrist, I'll tell you everything you need to know.
I'm like, okay, you got 5 minutes.
So they get the psychiatrist, and even at first, the FBI agent's like, "Well, I'm not going to leave."
Yeah.
He's like, "What?" He's like, "Don't we have like
doctor-patient confidentiality?" He's just like, okay,
I mean,
there's a fucking camera in the corner.
Yeah, and so him and the other FBI agent are just watching them. And Nicolas Cage does the smart thing where he covers his mouth when he's talking. You know, very gangster and like.
But I knew there was something off. I knew there was something off.
I didn't.
By the time he was just like, whoa, you're giving your psychiatrist all of the fucking information to your safe.
Well, and he's giving it to the psychiatrist to give it to his daughter.
Yeah. Yes, I understand.
Right?
But still, I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. There's a twist. There has to, because
I feel so stupid now because you're right. I should have seen it.
The words, it never left my mind when he said, rule number 2, if you're conning someone, make sure they're not conning you.
That went right
and so
over
I'm
my
thinking like at some point, I think someone's fucking with him. And like I was suspicious of Sam Rockwell at some point, and I was like, nah. And I was like, I was a little suspicious, I will say, at some points of Angela. The daughter.
I was more suspicious of the Mark and Sam Rockwell working together. I thought that was going to be the twist.
Yeah. But the twist is way
So he talks to the
worse.
psychiatrist. He gives him the passcode, and his daughter has an authorized signature.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, do I need to remember it? He's like, should I write it down? He's like, no, don't write it down. They're gonna frisk you on the way out.
Yeah.
The psychiatrist, okay, he's got the code. He leaves. Nicolas Cage passes out.
Wakes up.
Covered in sweat.
He's just like, guys, it's hot in here. Go turn the AC on. Guys, it's hot.
He gets up. He gets out of the bed. He starts looking around, realizing he's not handcuffed to the bed anymore. And he opens up the door, and right outside of his hospital room is the TV and 2 chairs that the FBI agents were just watching. And it's like a weird shack.
It's not a hospital.
And the door's just like blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
And there's a sign right there for him. It says, to Nicolas Cage.
To Nicolas Cage. Here are your clothes.
And we hear a voiceover from Sam Rockwell. Just,
damn,
hey,
dude.
We got you.
Fuck, man.
I did this.
He
He
walks outside and
he's on the roof of a building.
Yeah, he had just been conned, and so he knew immediately. Oh, I just gave away all of my information to my money, where all of my fucking cash is.
He gave the code and the signature away.
Yep.
So he goes to the bank, opens up his safety deposit box.
Nothing.
One little.
Well, first he goes home.
$40,000.
He goes home, and then there's a note from Frank there.
I guess that's the voiceover.
Yeah, that's the voiceover.
Okay.
And so he checks his dog. His money inside of the dog stash is gone. Frank says, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I love you, man.
Yeah.
But you knew this time was going to come.
I couldn't have done this without you. Like, you are the one who... And at this point, I'm still thinking that Frank has kidnapped Angela.
Really?
I seriously thought at that point it was going to be like, and if you want to see Angela again, you're going to need to get me another $80,000.
I knew there was a chance that Angela was like, okay, this is either going to turn into a movie where Angela is now racing against Frank and whoever he's working with to get to the bank, right?
Yeah. Ooh, that would have been good.
That would have been good.
Like in Casino.
But I think this is better because it's heartbreaking.
Well, and in the letter, Frank tells him, he's like, look, I'm taking you from everything. You wanted to leave. I can't have a partner like you that's better than me at this. And this is the final con. Yeah. I'm out. We're all done. Yeah. we find out that the psychiatrist was in on it.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell was in on it.
Yeah.
Angela was in on it.
Yeah.
Maybe the Mark was in on it.
We don't find out that Angela is 100% in on it until Nicolas Cage decides to visit his ex-wife.
Well, because he's got to tell her that Angela has been kidnapped.
Yeah. Is that what it was?
That's what I read it as. Like, he's got to go tell her that Angela's still with Frank.
He knew that I think he was already suspicious that Angela conned him. And I think he was one of the two.
Yes.
I think he was like, okay, either she's
in on it, like either she's working with Frank to con me and get back at me for not being there for 13 years, or it's something else.
Yeah.
Right? Or she's been kidnapped by him. So he goes to his ex-wife's place and he knocks on the door and he's like Angela's gone. And
she's not here, is she?
She's like, who?
And right when that happened,
I was screaming. I stood up.
Like, who is that? I'd just be so heartbroken.
She's like,
man.
She goes, I don't know who that is. And he goes, what? And he goes, what happened to the baby? The baby you were pregnant with when you left. And she goes, I lost the baby. My whole world crumbled because I was like, who the fuck is Angela?
Yeah, man.
So good.
And then she says, are you okay? He says, like, yeah, I'll be fine. And then
he starts laughing because he realizes it's an incredible con. He's got long con.
Yeah.
One line that stuck with me for the whole thing is in the beginning. He says, I don't do long cons. Sam Rockwell's like, I want to do this thing. And he's like, I don't do long cons. That's a very long, thought out
I'm so mad at Sam Rockwell, man. So mad at Sam Rockwell.
So the movie ends and we cut to 1 year later.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is working at a
carpet
store.
Yeah.
Two people walk in and his boss calls him, tells him to go talk to him, starts talking to this guy.
Hey, what are you looking for?
Cheap. I want cheap,
any color.
Any color, doesn't matter. I got a
an
dog.
apartment. Yeah. Moving in with my girlfriend.
Okay, sure. He goes, I know. He's like, we'll take you to the Remnants. And so he goes over there and that guy's girlfriend is
Angela, man.
Dressed incredibly salacious.
Yeah, just like looks 10 years older than she was.
She's got her Gonzagas out. She's wearing a black dress. She's got pink in her hair.
Yeah, eyeshadow, eyeliner, lashes
she sees
done.
Nicolas Cage and she's like, ugh.
She's, even for a con person,
loses it.
Just cannot hold it together because she knows.
And even her boyfriend kind of like catches on it for a second. He's like,
y'all fucking?
He's like, is everything okay? Because she's like, I left my wallet in the car. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll go get it.
Okay, yeah.
And so she's leaving. She's like, please don't tell him.
Thanks for not.
Yeah, thanks for not outing me and stuff.
And like, there's a suspicion that I had. Like, is she conning him now?
I thought she might be the boyfriend.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that she would, but no, she says she's not.
Yeah,
so
she
we'll
says
take
like
her for
he's
her word.
sweet. And like,
she does like him. And in fact, she didn't get any money from Frank. She does say that Frank ended up conning her and she made no money from that
Is it no money?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I read it as.
Swindled completely off of her cut.
Frank said, fuck everybody.
Wow.
And
so that kind of like, now we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
And so she's moved on with her life. She's now with the boyfriend and stuff.
And here's like such a moving moment, like after they have that talk and she buys this cheetah printed
which is an insane choice.
Crazy. That's $75.
It's an apartment that they're probably renting that they're redoing the carpet on to cheetah print.
Yeah. Like, whoa, that's all right. If you want your place like that. That seems like the way she was dressed and the way that he looked, probably porn. But she turns around before saying goodbye and says like, hey, do you want to know my actual name? And he says, I already know it. And she's like, okay. Goodbye, Dad.
That'll always be Angela to him.
Goodbye, Dad. Like, I wish they just stayed, like, remained friends. I don't know, like, because they had...
That'd be a weird relationship.
Do you
think she's Frank's daughter?
No.
Who is this woman? Is she just a random woman?
She's a rando. She's another con, man. She's, what do you call it? Do you think that she actually enjoyed her relationship with Nicolas Cage? Do you think there was anything, part of her that felt bad? Because, like, even Nicolas Cage...
does ask her. She does ask him all the time, like, do you ever feel bad for these people? And he's like, well, I don't take money from people who don't deserve it. And he's like, I've never used violence.
Well, he says that to the psychiatrist.
Oh, that's right.
But he's 100% honest with her. He says, yeah, like, I don't steal the money. They give it to me. And she's like, well, do you like it? And she's like, he says, it makes me sick to my stomach. And she's like, why do you do it? And then, like, he doesn't have anything to say. So we know that he's being 100% truthful to her. And that he is a good person. Like I said, that keeps coming back. Is he a good person that's just making bad decisions and fucking with these people?
Well, that's a way to make money, bro. Don't condemn him for his way of life.
Well, I mean, obviously, he's living an honest life.
Because when he does turn it around, he ends up with the love of his life.
Oh, my gosh. He goes back into his house.
Well, first he goes to his favorite store, and he goes to a different teller. And you're like, oh, good for him. He's like growing up.
What?
You forgot the biggest fucking twist of all.
What?
the medicine that the psychiatrist gave him was fake.
It was like estrogen medicine or some shit.
When I did, that was a suspicion that I had the whole time.
Placebo.
It was like that it was going to be a placebo the whole time, but then we found out it's actually like menopause medicine.
Yeah. I wonder what that does. Does that do nothing?
The whole scene where he's in the pharmacy, like trying to get the medicine,
and
from
he has all these tics.
That's
freaking the fuck
out.
out.
His best acting. That's incredible acting.
Great acting, man.
And even the psychiatrist says, he's like, look, I've been giving you fake pills the whole time. He's like, obviously, like you're not as neurotic as you think you are.
Yeah. And so, like, as much of a fucked up moment as that was, that he was tricked out of this medication, it's a beautiful moment because you realize
it helped him.
He didn't need anything to cure himself. He just needed like a good life, a good, honest life, or a purpose.
Yes.
A purpose as a father. Yes. And that's why this movie's heartbreaking, because that relationship, that role, it's stripped away from him.
But he goes to the store with the new teller. He's buying a whole bunch of different stuff, ice cream and eggs and bread.
And then you're wondering what happened to the other teller.
Yeah, what happened to the tuna and the cigarettes?
Goes home, you see this lady chopping up some food. Groceries.
He puts down the groceries and he goes to hug her, and it's the teller.
It's the teller, and she's pregnant.
It's Penn and Teller.
It's Penn and Teller. He's in a threesome relationship. He loves magicians.
No, it's the teller, and then the camera pans down a little bit as Nick Cage drops to his knees and he kisses her pregnant belly.
And then it cuts to the summer wind came blowing in from across the sea. And I was like, oh my gosh. There's one there. As much as nice, that sounded really good. It was so shitty to know that he had been just conned out of all of his money, but it was a beautiful ending because he understood what he wanted truly in life.
He didn't need the money to make him happy, which he thought it would.
Yeah.
He needed purpose. You hit it on the head.
Man.
Couple of things that I want to point out to you that you might have missed. Did you notice in the credits, both opening and closing, that the letters W and M have, like, they're not completely written out?
No,
because they're written in matchsticks.
Oh, really?
The W and the M are written in matchsticks.
Why are they called Matchstick Men?
I assume the book explains it more, but they don't explain it at all in the movie.
And like you see him using matches to like light his cigarettes every now and then. I think they're just subtle references.
I honestly
to the
don't
title.
think I saw a single match.
He did it against the like a wall.
That's right. And one of the things that I read, that all the people who are con artists smoke.
Oh.
Nicolas Cage is smoking constantly. Sam Rockwell is smoking constantly. The psychiatrist is smoking a pipe.
That's true.
Angela smokes a cigarette.
Yeah. And there has to be a scene of the Mark smoking somewhere. I think
he
does.
He's smoking a cigar in the strip club.
Oh, you're right. It is a cigar. So little subtle things. That's what makes this pretty artsy.
So we're pretty sure the Mark's in on it.
Yeah. I would think so. He just unfortunately died in the process. Wait.
I don't think he did.
Oh, because why the fuck would Angela, if she's a con, actually shoot him? You're right. You're right.
And you know what? When she opens the dog thing and finds the gun, maybe that's when she took the bullets out and replaced them with
blanks. Yeah.
Which, blanks still kill people. Alec Baldwin.
It's
Pay attention, Alec Baldwin. You bitch.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you're as bad of a liar as your wife, Hilaria.
Holy fuck, dude. That's a wild.
Oh, I'm going after the Baldwin family. I'm going after the Baldwin family.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Great impression of Trump, though. I will say that.
4 out of 5 for me.
Oh, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. When I saw Sam today at work, I spent a good 20 minutes just like thanking her for showing this movie, because this movie is. She even said when she told me about the movie, she goes, "This movie kind of reminds me of like it reminds me of you. It reminds me of like something that like it's of course something that I'm into, and like the sleazy but like niceness of it." And I was like, this movie checked every single box I could have made.
It's a fantastic movie.
Oh, it's fantastic, Mr. Fox.
Fantastic, dude. Fantastic, Mr. Fox. Is that what you said?
Yeah, you're Mr. Fox.
Oh, thank you.
But your best person?
It's gonna go to the actress that played Angela.
Yes.
I want to give it to Nicolas Cage, but like everything.
She gets plenty. He gets plenty.
Yeah.
Her name is Alison Lohman.
Yeah.
And I will say, when Alison Lohman auditioned for this role, she came dressed as a 13-year-old.
Wow.
And Ridley Scott did not know she was 23 years old.
Yeah.
Until she revealed her age to him.
Yep. She plays a youngin' really well.
She looks really believable, almost so believable as a 13-year-old that when we see her as her real self at the end, it's almost like, oh, that they like tried to make a little girl look older.
Yeah.
But no, that's actually what she
her
looks
age.
like. Yeah.
That's her age, 23 years old.
So good. Special shout outs, of course, to Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell will always be the best bad guy. Always.
Fucking fantastic.
Always.
Great. Nicolas Cage.
Does he ever not stab people in the back? He stabbed someone in the back in Charlie's Angels.
Mr. Right. He comes around.
He's a good person. He like half stabs her in the back.
Not really. I think he's like, they still run away together happily ever after.
I'm going to have to rewatch Mr. Right. I actually haven't seen it since we did our episode.
Good movie. Nicolas Cage, at the very end, even when he hugs the pregnant belly, you see him do one final tick. Little tick. And then that's when it goes to black. Fantastic acting on his part. Like we said before, easily could go hack if you're like trying to do someone with like agoraphobia, Tourette's, or OCD. But
OCD, yeah, it's all those things.
Did it beautifully without doing too much.
Special shout out to the Mark. I don't know. I cannot name. In fact, I'm looking at his thing and I don't recognize any of these movies, but I've seen this guy in a million films.
I feel like I've seen him, yeah.
He's either like drunk or yelling. He's got white hair now. Like this guy's in a lot of movies.
He's always like a rich white man that owns a boat and is getting fucked with and gets upset.
Yeah. He's in My Cousin Vinny, but I could not tell you who he was.
I don't know who.
Thank you for watching this movie with me.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for bringing
Sam, for bringing it to our attention.
Shout out to Sam. Thank you very much.
This movie is so much fun.
Incredible.
Such a great twist.
It warmed my heart, broke my heart, and put it back together. It just, I don't know. My heart's all over the place, and I should really get it checked out. But yeah.
Yes.
Cool. I guess that's all we did.
Yeah.
We talked about the movie Baddies. Thank you so much. A great dismount.
Guys, watch it. Oh, that's such a great inside joke for us. Guys, watch this movie. Like we said, it's on HBO Max. You can follow me on Instagram at call_me_Jesus.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Christian Has Asthma.
You can follow the podcast at ICBTB Podcast. And of course, send us an email, icbtbpodcast@yahoo.com.
DM us, text us for suggestions, or rate us everywhere. Apple Podcasts. Once again, you could rate us on Spotify
now, yes.
Yeah, yes. 5 stars, please.
And
thank
whatever,
you.
PodTube or whatever you're listening
Any
to.
podcatcher that you're listening to,
Yeah, there's probably...
Pod porn.
Pod bitch is probably something you're listening to us
pod
to.
sluts.
Yeah. Russian pods.
Yeah, fucking XXX pods XXX.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, send us an email. Let us know what's going on. Also, if you know the answer to 57 divided by 3, let me know. Anything else?
57 divided by 3, that's equal to 10. That's
actually 19. That's actually a really easy divisible number.
I was like, okay, you chose an interesting number. 57 is, I think that might be the only thing that it might be divisible by is 9 and 3.
I'm pretty sure 57 is a prime number.
Prime number? Wait, prime number? What's...
I actually don't know. I have no idea.
Bye.